All right, so I'm going to pick through some of them and we're going to do a few. These first ones give you the shape and they want you to do perimeter or find the perimeter or circumference, depending on the shape, and then the area. They want you to use 3.14 for pi. Saying it over and over again, I know, but it just depends on if we're finding or what calculator you have. If you have a basic calculator, you're going to have to use 3.14. If you have a scientific or graphing calculator, it has a pi button over on, if you have the Texas Instrument one, it's on the left-hand side. Anyways, it does not matter. I don't care. So, number 10, start off with an easy one. We'll start off with a square. And so, looks like this, and then they have the marks to show that all the sides are congruent. Now, if the problem was written in words and I'm going to draw a square, I'm not necessarily going to put all these markings on there because it should be pretty obvious. But they're doing this so that you know for sure like this is a square because they're not telling us what it is. You have to look at it and determine what it is. So they want us to find the perimeter. And so that's 4 times the side. So that would be 4 times 9. And so my perimeter is what? 36. And then we would write units because they did not give us any units on this one. Area is side squared. So I'm going to take the side length of 9 and square it. And so 9 squared is what? 81. So my area is 81 units squared. You can write square units, whatever, but I do it this way for the abbreviation. It's shorter. And that's all you have to do on those ones. Um, 13. And you're going to notice this section is kind of a conglomeration of evens and odds that I'm going to do just based on what we need to look at. So this one's a triangle. They've given us the height of the triangle here. And that's 8. This side is 10. This side is 17. And then what they do to show that this is the length of this entire piece is they're going to draw it like that. I was looking, looks like pretty consistently that's how they're going to do it, just so that you can see that the length of that side is 21. So I would say this triangle is drawn upside down, okay, for thinking about the base is actually on the top right now, but it's just the principle of it. If you feel like you need to, and you copy it out of your book, you want to flip it so that the base is at the bottom, you're welcome to flip your triangle over as long as you have it written there some way. It doesn't matter to me. All right, so perimeter, we add up all the sides, so that's going to be 21 plus 17 plus 10. So my perimeter is what? 48 units. Now area is 1/2 base times height. So it's 1/2 times base is 21. Height is 8. What is that?
168. Yep. 21 times 8.
So I would take half of 8 first, which is what? 4 times 21 is 84. It's going to make your life a whole lot easier if you do that first. And then units squared for area. All right, 16. They're giving us a circle. And then they're giving us the diameter. So if they draw the line all the way across, it's the diameter. You need to find the radius of it, okay? Because we can't do anything with, well, we can find the circumference, as Abby pointed out a little bit ago, but I would need to find the radius ultimately, so we're going to do it that way just so we're consistently using the formula. So this is the diameter is 11. What was the radius going to be then? 5.5. So my perimeter, or actually it's not perimeter, it's circumference, is 2 pi r. So this is going to be 2 times pi times 5.5. Now, again, even if you're going to type into your calculator 3.14 because you don't have a pi button, or you're like, I don't like the pi button, I'm just going to type in the numbers, I would still say on your paper, just write it as a pi symbol. You should know that pi is equal to 3.14. If you forget it, it's literally on the wall over there. Pie chart. So when you do that, okay, 2 times 5.5, we should already know that because we took half of that number, or took half of 11 to get that. So that's going to be 11 times pi, if you want to think about it that way. So then 11 times 3.14. Yep, and we're going to round to 1 decimal place, so we're going to call it 34.5. Now, if I use the pi button on my calculator and did 11 pi, the only difference is I would get 34.55, so it would be 34.56 would be your final answer. So it's just, it would be 34.6. So it's just going to make the difference of like 0.1. So as long as that's all you're off by, right, I'm not going to take points off, okay? If I use 3.14 and you use pi button, vice versa, it's not going to matter. So this is my circumference, is 34.5 units. All right, now my area is pi r squared. So this is going to be pi times 5.5 squared. And just so that you have seen it, in case you haven't, or I don't know how much you've played around with your calculator, if you have this one, which is the one that said you needed for like this class, a scientific calculator, then over here on this side, it's kind of hard to see with the glare, but there's a button that has an X with a little 2, okay, and the exponent. If you type in 5.5 and then you hit that button, it's going to square whatever you've typed in there. And so that would be 30.25, okay? So then I can either write over here 30.25 times pi, or I can go ahead and then say times, if I want to use the pi button, then I'm going to get 95.03, so that's just going to be 95, because that's going to round down. So 95 units squared. And if you happen to use 3.14 instead of the pi button, you would have gotten the exact same thing after it was rounded, so it wouldn't have been any different on this particular one. Any questions on these so far? Are we tracking? Okay. All right, 18, just because this one's a little bit weird. It's a rectangle. However, they have put a diagonal line through it, and they've told us that this diagonal is 10. This side over here is 6, and then they've marked this off that all my corners are 90 degrees and they're all congruent, and then that's all they've told me so far. Okay, so I need to find what to be able to find my perimeter and area. Yep, the length of it. So I need to find this side up here, okay? Or, well, let me do it this way. I need to find this side down here, okay? So this right here makes a triangle. So we're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to solve for this side length right here. Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I think that might have been one of the formulas that you put in your book, but hopefully you already know this from Algebra 1. So this is C. This can either be A or B. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm going to call it B because why not? So I'm solving for this side over here. So this is going to be A squared, or actually A is equal to the square root of C squared minus B squared. Okay, that's your modified formula for solving for a side that's not the hypotenuse. C is always your hypotenuse. It's your longest side. So this is going to be the square root of 10 squared minus 6 squared. What's 10 squared? 6 squared. And 100 minus 36 is?
64.
Square root of 64 is? 8. So that means that this side right here is 8. Okay? So the only thing that the 10 was used for was to help me find the other side.
So when we throw our work, what if we just put like the square root of 10 squared minus 6 squared on our calculator, and then we skip the part where you put 100 minus 36 and 64, and we just put the
I mean, that's fine, but as long as you've shown this, that's fine. I could go in my head straight from here to 8, but yeah, that's fine. As long as you show something that shows how you set it up to find the other side, that's fine.
Can I use the restroom real quick?
All right, so this side's 8. So now I have enough stuff to find the perimeter of my rectangle. So perimeter is going to be 2L plus 2W. So 2 times 8. And again, if you swap the 8 and the 6, as far as like swapping length and width, it does not change your answer. So 2 times 8 plus 2 times 6 would be 16 plus 12. So we've got 28 units for the perimeter here. Area is length times width. So I've got 6 times 8, which is 48 units squared. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, there's going to be one that's a semicircle, so I want to talk about that just in case, because it's just kind of weird and different, kind of like this last one was with the rectangle, of how we find our perimeter and our, I guess I should say circumference, and then area. So I've got this semicircle here that drew a triangle. That was lovely. That's not a circle. Okay, close enough. And they put the 8 over here on this side like this, okay? That means that my radius is what they've given me, okay? If they're giving it to me as a diameter, they're going to put it in the center like I did up here with this one, okay? And they're going to have, well, obviously this one isn't a circle, so it's a semicircle. So my radius is 8. Now, I need to find the circumference. The circumference of a circle is for the entire outer boundary of my circle. A semicircle is what of a whole circle? Half. So I need half of my circumference. And then I'm going to need to add this part down here because this is not part of a normal circle, right? So my circumference is going to be 2 times pi times 8, but I need half of it, so I'm going to go ahead and divide it by 2. So my 2's here are going to cancel, and so then I have 8 times pi, and so that's going to be 25.13. So that is this part right here, okay? That's what I've found so far. Now, I'm not done. To find the perimeter of my semicircle, I need the circumference plus the base of the semicircle here. So I'm going to need to do 8 plus 8 plus this 25.13 to find the perimeter of the semicircle. And that's going to give me 41.1 units. Now for area, okay, I can just find the area of a circle and then I can cut it in half. You have a question?
Yeah, wouldn't it still be circumference or is it perimeter?
Circumference is only the outside of the circle.
Okay.
So
it's for the inside of the circle?
since we're accounting for this part too, I would probably say perimeter. The book isn't going to say anything. They're just going to say find the perimeter or circumference, basically, is how they're going to put it. So, but if you still left it as circumference, I wouldn't take off for that or anything like that. All right, so area is pi r squared. So this is pi times the radius is 8 squared. I need half of it, so I'm going to do over 2. So that's going to be 64 times pi divided by 2. And so my area is going to be 100.5 units squared. All right, any questions on those? Those are all ones where they've given us a picture. All right, so a lot of times they don't give you a picture. So we're going to look at a few other things here. Let's see. They could give us something like 22 where they say a rectangle with length of 12 yards and width of 9 yards. And they want us to find the area. Okay, so they didn't give us a shape. Now, if you know what the shape is, you don't necessarily have to draw it. If you're a visual person and you want to draw it, you can. So basically, I've got a rectangle here. That's not going to be very proportionate, but that's fine. A width of 9, length of 12. And I'm finding the area. Well, what's the area of a rectangle? Length times width. So it would be 12 times 9, which is 108. And then this one, they did give us units, so it would be yards squared. So that's going to be your units on that. Okay. Um, 30. Draw the figure in a coordinate plane and find its area. Okay, these sound like they would be super hard and confusing, but they're really not as long as you can plot your points correctly. So we have a triangle with coordinates at A is 3, 4, B is 7, 4, and C is 5, 7. Okay, so I don't even need to have graph paper for this. This is just something that's like a super quick sketch. Everything is in this upper right quadrant, so I don't even need to draw anything other than that. My X values go out to 7, so I went out to 7 tick marks here. Y values go up to 7, so I'm going to go up to 7 tick marks here. And then I'm going to just plot these points. Again, it's just kind of a rough sketch. So I have a point at 3, 4. So over to 3, up 4. That's point A. B is 7, 4. So there's 7. Up 4. And then C is 5, 7. So over to 5, up to 7. And I have a triangle here. And they want us to find the area. So what two pieces of information do I need to know to find area?
Base and height.
Yep, base and height, because the formula is 1/2 base times height. Okay, so any ideas how I might find the height here and my base here?
Between the two, the y-axis points from 4 up to 7.
Yep, from 4 up to 7, and what's the difference there?
3.
3, so that means my height is 3. And then my base is from here to here. So what is that going to be?
5. 4.
4. 7 minus 3 is 4.
It's from 3 to 7.
Yep. So then I just plug it in. A is 1/2, 3 times 4. Or 1/2 times 3 times 4. So then that's going to be 6
Half 4 is 2.
units squared. Yes. All right, now most of these look like they're giving you the shape where it's like upright, and so all you'll need to do is to count the distance between to find them. Now, if they gave you the triangle like crooked, okay, we could find the distance between the points with the distance formula, but these look like they're pretty kind and have given them to you all straight up or like up and down, so you'd be able to just count and figure out where it is. Okay, now they're not all triangles. Okay, rectangles, we would need to just count like the length of it and the width of it, or vice versa, depending on what it is. Any questions on that kind? All right, one other type of problem here. Use the given measurements to find the unknown measurement. So 44, so we're jumping a little bit here. We've got a triangle, has an area of 52 yards squared, and a height of 13 yards. They want us to find the base. Okay? I'm just shortening it for the sake of time.
When we do the homework, do we have to write down like the whole sentence?
Yep. I'm just not at this very moment because we're getting close on time, so I want to make sure that we have time to get through like 2 of these. All right, so they want us to find the missing piece. So amazingly enough, I chose a triangle again. So area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So we know the pieces that they've given us. Okay, I'm solving for B. So if I want to get B by itself, I would multiply by 2. So I'd have 2 times A is equal to B times H. Then I can divide by H. So B is equal to 2A over H. And now I can plug in my numbers. Okay, if you want to plug in your numbers from the beginning, you can do that also. But I like this method. So 2 times 52 divided by 13. And when I do that, I get 8. So my base is 8, and we should put yards on there because obviously they gave us units. If they give us units, we need to use them. Let's see, 46. A circle. That was weird. That was not a circle. There we go. A circle has an area of 1 meter squared. Find the diameter. All right, so what do we know about the area of a circle?
It's pi r squared.
It is pi r squared. So if I have the area, right, that's what they've given me here, I need to first find r. Now ultimately I'm finding diameter, but I can still go about it this way. So I'm going to have 1 divided by pi is equal to r squared. Then I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So I'm going to have the square root of 1 over pi is equal to r. Now, if you remember from algebra, this is the rule that most commonly gets forgotten when we take the square root of both sides. Typically, we have a plus or a minus. But can I have a negative distance at any point? I can't. So I only need the positive one in this case, okay? So on your calculator, there is a button, again, over on the left-hand side. It's above the x squared button, okay? If you have the calculator, it looks like this. And so if you hit the second button that's up here and then the square root there, it will let you type in 1 divided by, I'm just going to use the pi button for convenience, so 1 divided by pi, and I get 0.564, so I'm just going to say 0.56 is my r. Now, if I want to find the diameter, what do I need to do?
Multiply the radius by 2.
Yep, multiply by 2. So the diameter is equal to 2 times 0.56. And that's going to give me rounded 1.1. So 1.1 meters is the diameter of my circle. All right, any questions on any of that? Huh?
May use that.
Yes. All right, problems. Let's see. 9. 15. 17. 26. 31. 41 and 45.